What's up? Cory again with another episode of Quarantine with Cory! Now tonight we got 8 minutes of motivation. Alright, let's go back to 1916. There was a 7 or 8 year old boy, and his chore for school because they didn't have electricity and everything, right? So in the winter in Kansas, it was in Kansas, in the winter his chore was to go to school early before anybody else got there to their little schoolhouse, and he would get the fire going for the stove to heat the building, so when everybody else got there, the school would be nice and warm for them to learn, right? He would go and he would pour kerosene on it so it would start lighting and everything would be good. Well, this morning in February 1916, this little boy named Glenn and his brother went to school early like they had done so many days before to start the fire so they could warm up the schoolhouse for everybody else. Well, this morning when Glenn grabbed the canister that he thought was filled with kerosene, he didn't know that it actually wasn't kerosene in that canister. It was actually gasoline. And when he poured that onto the fire, thinking it was kerosene and that it would just kind of lightly start blazing up, when he poured that gasoline on, the building exploded. And when the teachers and the students got there that morning, they saw their school completely engulfed in flames. The teacher knew that something was way more wrong than just the school burning. See, she knew that Glenn was in there. She knew that he was supposed to be in there. So they ran in there and they found Glenn and they were able to pull him out. His body was badly burned. He didn't even have any skin barely left on his legs. You could see the bones. It was absolutely horrific. They took him to the hospital, where they later found out that Glenn's older brother didn't make it in the fire. And the doctors told Glenn's mom that he wouldn't make it through the night. And Glenn heard all of these conversations, and see, Glenn did live through the night. But instead of celebrating the next day that Glenn made it through the night, the doctors told his mom, you know what? It would have been better off if he didn't live. You see, he's never gonna walk again. He's gonna be just a cripple. He doesn't have any motor ability in his lower body. He's gonna be bound to a wheelchair. So it would have been better off if he would have died, because he's not gonna amount to anything. And little Glenn heard this. And the doctor said if he's gonna live, the best bet we need to do is we need to amputate his legs. We need to take him off. That's gonna be the best course. Well, Glenn's mom would not let them do that. She would not. And the doctor said he's never gonna walk again. He's never gonna be able to move his lower body again. Well, he eventually got out of the hospital, and Glenn was determined that he would prove those doctors wrong, that he would eventually walk again. So his parents would massage his legs every day and do all these exercises to try and get his legs to come back, the function to come back, the circulation to come back, but nothing worked. Day in and day out they did it and nothing. Well, one day his mom, Glenn's mom, pushed him out into the yard in a wheelchair just to get some fresh air, and Glenn had an idea. See, he had enough. So he wheeled himself over to the white picket fence that surrounded the yard. He threw himself out of the wheelchair. He grabbed onto that fence and he pulled himself up with everything he had, holding himself up because his legs didn't work. And he grabbed the next picket and he drug himself. And he grabbed the next one, his legs dragging behind him. Sheer determination. He drug himself on that fence, one picket at a time. And see, Glenn didn't just do it one day. Glenn didn't just do it 2 days. No, Glenn didn't just do it 1 week. Glenn did it day after day after day after day, to a point where there was a path wore out in dirt around the whole fence because the grass had died from his feet dragging behind him. And he did it day after day. And finally, after about a year of dragging himself every single day with no results, he finally could stand up with a little bit of help. He got a little bit of strength back in his legs. So he would do that day in and day out. And then one day, he was able to walk without anybody helping him. He had proven the doctors wrong. He had proven all of the naysayers wrong. But he didn't stop there. He wanted to run. So he eventually built up the strength and the stamina to run. Although it was painful, he ran everywhere. And he went on to run track at Kansas. And he got the nickname the Kansas Flyer. And in 1934, at the age of 28, Glenn Cunningham, at Madison Square Garden in New York City, ran the mile in 4 minutes and 8 seconds. The fastest mile in the world at that time. A man, a kid that wasn't supposed to live. A kid that everybody counted out. A kid that wasn't even supposed to walk. And here he was, a man with a world record in his hand. My question for you is this. What dream have you let somebody speak death to? What dream do you have that you've let somebody in your life tell you it will never walk? What dream have you been pushing to the side because people said it would never happen? You see, dreams come true. But are you willing to go out to that fence day after day after day and work and grind and fall flat on your face, and when you don't see results, say, you know what, I'm going to keep going. I know it's coming. I'm going to keep going. Are you willing to put in the work? Because if you are, I promise you dreams come true. Your dreams can come true. Don't let people set fire to your dreams. Chase after them with everything you got. I promise you, it'll be worth it in the end. Keep working. Keep trying. And one day you'll be able to look back and say, I did it. It was worth it.